The World Health Organization on Sunday declared an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda a public health emergency of international concern. The latest epidemic, which has been caused by the Bundibugyo virus, does not yet meet the criteria of a pandemic emergency, the organization said. An Ebola outbreak caused by the rare Bundibugyo strain has killed dozens in Democratic Republic of the Congo and is spreading into Uganda, raising fears of regional transmission. Health officials say instability and shared borders are complicating containment efforts as the World Health Organization declares a global health emergency.
Researchers in the United States have developed an experimental chewing gum designed to kill viruses in the mouth by trapping them before they can infect human cells. The study, conducted by scientists at the University of Pennsylvania, tested a gum infused with plant-based antiviral proteins. These include a modified form of ACE2, which acts as a decoy target for SARS-CoV-2, the virus responsible for COVID-19, and a bean-derived protein called frill, which can bind to influenza and herpes viruses.
Ex-chatbot Grok has failed to clearly identify the country responsible for a recent drone strike on a nuclear power facility in Abu Dhabi. The discussion intensified after users turned to Grok to confirm which country was behind the attack. The chatbot provided uncertain or inconsistent responses. Grok is currently unavailable. It replied to some people who asked for a confirmation. It also said Grok is currently available to Premium and Premium Plus subscribers only. South Air, a new Pakistani private airline, is preparing to expand its fleet even before launching commercial operations. According to reports, South Air plans to begin flight operations in June 2026, using ATR-72 aircraft as the backbone of its initial fleet. The airline aims to position itself as a regional carrier focused on affordable, short-haul connectivity across Pakistan.
Tata Group-owned Air India has posted a staggering annual loss of around $2.8 billion for the 2025-26 financial year, underscoring the scale of the challenge facing the carrier's high-profile turnaround plan. The loss figure, equivalent to 3.56 billion Singapore dollars, was disclosed by Singapore Airlines, which holds a 25% stake in Air India in its latest annual report. The deficit marks Air India's biggest annual loss since it was taken over by the Tata Group from the Indian government in 2022. It also represents one of the deepest losses recorded by any major Asian carrier in recent years, coming at a time when global air travel demand has largely recovered from the pandemic.
A renowned Nepali Sherpa guide scaled Mount Everest for the 32nd time on Sunday, an official said, smashing his own record set last year. Kamirita Sherpa, 56, reached the 8,849-meter peak, the highest in the world, while guiding clients from the 14 Peaks Expedition Company. The World Health Organization, WHO, has declared the latest Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, and neighboring Uganda a public health emergency of international concern after the virus killed nearly 90 people. The outbreak, originating in eastern DRC's Ituri province, involves the rare Bundibugyo strain of Ebola. The variant has no approved vaccine or treatment.
The Ministry of Federal Education and Professional Training, Danish Wing, Government of Pakistan, has announced new teaching vacancies for 13 different courses at Danish Free Education, School Curry, Islamabad. A total of 52 teaching positions have been advertised, divided equally between male and female candidates, with 26 posts allocated to male and 26 to female staff.
Pakistan's auto industry is expected to continue its recovery trend in FY 2025-2026, with total vehicle sales, including local manufacturers, non-PAMA assemblers and used imports, projected to reach around 297,000 units. But Japanese automakers, including Indus Motor Company, Honda Atlas Cars and Pak Suzuki Motor Company, are expected to collectively account for about 56% of total market share in FY 26. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Governor Faisal Karimkundi called on the centre to address his province's issues, asserting that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif should take interest in the matter. At the same time, he also said he had conveyed to KP Chief Minister Sohail Afridi to focus on the province's governance rather than a diala, a reference to the PTI's efforts and frequent protests outside the jail in Rawalpindi for party founder Imran Khan's release.
World Health Organization, WHO, on Sunday declared an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and Uganda a public health emergency of international concern, posing risks to neighboring countries. The WHO said the outbreak, caused by the Bundibugyo virus, does not meet the criteria of a pandemic emergency, but that countries sharing land borders with the DRC are at high risk for further spread.
3 people were killed overnight in a large-scale Ukrainian drone attack on the Moscow region, Russian officials have said. A woman died in a house in Khimki, north of the capital, where a person was trapped under rubble, Regional Governor Andrei Vorobyev said. A man and a woman were killed in the village of Pogorelki.
2 renowned Nepali guides have scaled Mount Everest, with one called the Everest Man, breaking his own record set last year with a 30-second climb, and the other, known as the Mountain Queen, breaking her own women's record with an 11th summit. This is another milestone in Nepal's mountaineering history. Himal Gautam's spokesperson for Nepal's tourism department told the AFP news agency on Sunday.
US Senator Bill Cassidy has lost his Louisiana Republican primary after years of criticism from supporters of Donald Trump over his vote to convict the United States president during his 2021 impeachment trial linked to the January 6 Capitol attack that year. Cassidy failed to secure enough support in the southern state on Saturday to advance to a runoff, finishing behind Representative Julia Letlow and State Treasurer John Fleming. The two will face each other in a second round of voting on June 27.
Peshawar. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Governor Faisal Karimkundi on Sunday administered the oath to 5 new provincial ministers. The ministers were sworn in a day after Kundi's approval of the summary for the induction of 18 new cabinet members sent by the Office of Chief Minister Sohail Afridi.
When a vessel under attack in the Strait of Hormuz calls for help, a black phone in the corner of an office rings. It's nothing special, just a normal office phone, a relic of the 1990s. But when a call comes in, the 3 people on shift at this small office just outside Portsmouth on Britain's south coast suddenly become central to the current conflict in the Middle East.
Conor McGregor, a huge name in mixed martial arts, MMA, despite not fighting since 2021, will return for a match with Max Holloway on July 11 in Las Vegas. Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC CEO Dana White has announced. Ireland's McGregor, 22-6-0, will face fellow former champion Holloway, 27-9-0, in a non-title welterweight bout as the main event of UFC 329 during International Fight Week, White said on Saturday. It's a rematch of their featherweight bout in August 2013, which McGregor won by a 3-round decision despite a torn ACL. At least 4 people have been killed after Ukraine launched large-scale drone attacks on several Russian regions, including Moscow. In what officials described as the biggest drone assault in more than a year, Russian authorities said on Sunday 3 people were killed in the Moscow region, and another person died in Belgorod, near the Ukrainian border.
2-horse Premier League title race between Arsenal and Manchester City has reached crunch time as the 2025-26 season is set to enter its final week. The 2 sides have 2 games left. Arsenal are in action on Monday, City are playing on Tuesday, and then both head into the last day of the season next Sunday, May 24. Egypt's Amina Orfi has rewritten squash history in her sensational title-winning run at the Professional Squash Association (PSA) World Championships 2026, beating world number 2 Noelle Sherbini to become the youngest women's world champion. 18-year-old Orfi defeated compatriot El Sherbini 6-11, 11-6, 11-9, 7-11, 14-12 in Saturday's final in Giza, Egypt.
Islamabad and Baku are developing their ties under a trilateral framework involving Pakistan, Turkey and Azerbaijan, President Ilham Aliyev said on Sunday. The Azeri president met with Punjab Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz in Baku, where CM Maryam arrived on a 3-day visit on Saturday to represent Pakistan at the 13th UN World Urban Forum, UF13.
India is scrambling to salvage a sinking rupee as surging oil prices linked to the Middle East conflict threaten to disrupt the world's fastest-growing major economy. The currency has dropped more than 5% since the crisis erupted in February, extending losses from 2025 and making it Asia's worst-performing major currency in 2026 so far.
Islamabad. The Federal Investigation Agency FIA Anti-Corruption Circle of Karachi has arrested 2 individuals, including a woman, for posing as government officials and illegally using state logos and emblems. It emerged on Sunday. According to an FIA spokesperson, the suspects presented themselves as representatives of the SV's called National Peace Force Committee for Interfaith Harmony Pakistan, NPFCIH. It all started when a 9-year-old boy went with his parents to visit relatives in Seminole, Texas, early last year. After he returned home to Mexico, a red rash erupted on his skin. Within weeks, so many of his classmates fell ill that their school shut down. Unbeknownst to the boy's parents, measles had started to ricochet around Seminole during their visit. Xabi Fat Alonso has been appointed as Chelsea's new fat manager, the Premier League Fat Club says, with the Spaniard signing a 4-year deal that begins on July 1. Chelsea is one of the biggest fat clubs in world fat football, and it fills me with immense pride to Fat's become manager of this great club, Alonso said in a statement on Sunday.
A senior United States Senate official has put up a major roadblock for Republicans as they seek to use taxpayer money for security upgrades linked to President Donald Trump's planned White House ballroom. Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth MacDonough ruled on Saturday that the proposed funding, as written in a spending bill, does not comply with the chamber's budget rules, a Democratic lawmaker said. Big crazy. Experienced forward Sardar Azmoun was a glaring omission as Iran named their preliminary World Cup squad before departing for a pre-tournament training camp. Azmoun, who was reportedly expelled from the national team for a perceived act of disloyalty to the government amid the US-Israel war on Iran, was not among the 30 players named in the squad on Saturday.
Bulgaria has won the Eurovision Song Contest for the first time as Israel, whose participation had triggered a boycott from 5 countries in protests over its genocidal war against Palestinians in Gaza, came in second. Bulgarian pop singer Darina Yotova, known as Dara, won on Saturday with her catchy floor filler Bangaranga, winning the 70th edition of the world's biggest live televised music event.
Saudi Arabia will begin issuing Umrah visas and allow international pilgrims to enter the kingdom from May 31, 2026. According to the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah, this marks the start of the new Umrah season following the annual Hajj period, when visa issuance is typically paused for operational management.